This pretty much is a good list for you to become the ultimate full stack developer. I mean, these are the only technologies I would say more or less you need in today's time to be a great full stack developer to build any sort of application. In this video, I'll be sharing the ultimate full stack tech stack which you should know as a developer to build pretty much any application you want in today's time. Let's go. This video is a part of Codedamm's t-shirt giveaway program for the month. If you want to take part and win an amazing Codedamm t-shirt, all you have to do is leave a comment on this video about what you think, and that's it. You are eligible. If your comment gets a heart from Codedamm, you will win a t-shirt for absolutely free. And in this video, I would not be starting with the obvious stuff, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I hope you know that already. I would probably share a bit of my own tech stack mixed with things I know are good for you to learn. Let's start with Next.JS. First of all, if you're a React developer, this makes a lot of sense, and this video would be opinionated. You might be a Vue.js developer, but I'm just giving you one option of a solid tech stack. Feel free to change the technologies in this if you would like to. Next.js is an awesome server-side rendering framework which will make your websites more performant, faster, powerful as well, some of the features, but most importantly, this has a great developer experience inbuilt, right? So you're gonna not have a lot of hard time or bad time building websites with Next.js. The next tech stack which I recommend is Tailwind CSS. And Tailwind CSS, again, opinionated, but I do like it as a developer because it reduces the possibilities of layouts you can create, or the values as well, not the layouts. How that works is that because in Tailwind, you have either padding x1, which is 1 EM, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has from a continuous range where you can pretty much specify any value in CSS to a discrete range. This kind of helps with some sane default, sane value, sane gaps if you are not a designer as per se. And for me, I'm definitely not a designer, and Tailwind CSS does help a lot. The next thing which I would highly recommend anyone and everyone who's working with mid to large size JavaScript is to move to TypeScript. This is, I think, if not the most important, one of the most important technologies I'm gonna list today in this video. TypeScript is super important, and it might seem like a weird step back from, because JavaScript is a dynamic language and gives so much flexibility, to moving back to a almost statically typed language. But this discipline is super important when you're working with medium or big size projects. Therefore, make sure trust me, TypeScript should be at your agenda for learning. If not today, then definitely in a few weeks, in a few months, but keep it on your to-do list. Next up is GraphQL. And the reason I like GraphQL so much is not because, sure, it gives you the advantages of graphs and that complexity which it brings. Sure, those are advantages, but a couple of more advantages which are inbuilt are the schemas. That means you would not have weird or funky data passed to your backend services. It kind of provides some sort of data validation, although I would recommend a library like Joey, which is again could be part of this tech stack. I'm just circling the technologies, but schemas do provide data validation. And second of all, when you mix it with TypeScript, you get ultimate superpowers because plugins like GraphQL, Codedamn, you can actually generate static types for your front end as well. So your front end now can know about how your backend API responses would look like. And this is, trust me, this is very helpful when you have a lot of API endpoints and you have a lot of resolvers and a lot of code coming from front to back. This type safety and this type, guarantee is very awesome feature of TypeScript and GraphQL Codedamn. Next up is MongoDB, and with MongoDB, I would recommend Mongoose, and with Mongoose, I would also recommend Mongoose-tsgen or a package like that. And what this third package does is pretty much what GraphQL Codedamn does to GraphQL. That is, you are able to generate your MongoDB types, TypeScript types for MongoDB from your MongoDB schema. Again, Mongoose exists because you have the option to provide a schema, therefore some sort of validation and stuff. This exists because you have automatic types, which again makes your code so much safe and so much less headache in terms of figuring out some typo bug or anything. And yep, MongoDB in general is a good NoSQL database, although sometimes I do recommend going with SQL databases as well, especially if you know beforehand that your data would be a lot relational in nature. But yeah, I mean, for now, MongoDB is a solid tech stack. On the testing side, I would say Jest as a runner, integrated with anything which you're doing. For example, for Next.JS, it might be React testing library, or for API testing, it might be just fetch or Axios calls. And Cypress is a solid choice for testing, right? So this is a solid choice for your building your testing pipeline, CI/CD pipeline and stuff like that. So make sure you know how to set up Jest correctly, because this is just a runner. It's not a testing. I mean, it does not include a lot of heavy lifting. Just a runner for tests. And Cypress is an end-to-end testing tool, which should be your priority, if not anything, in terms of testing, right? Because this is just automating your manual test every single time you build a new feature. So make sure you learn about Cypress as well. I have a full course video on that on Codedamn. I'll leave the link in the description, so make sure you see that. More on the utility side, I would say Prettier and ESLint are a couple of tools which, if you don't have configured, I'm gonna judge you real bad because these tools will help you save a lot of dev time and save others a lot of dev time as well. So make sure you configure Prettier and ESLint on your systems. On the CI/CD side, I would say Github Actions is an important thing which you should know and figure about how to work with GitHub in general. You'll be surprised to know so many people who don't know how to use GitHub properly as well. So make sure you know about GitHub and GitHub Actions for the CI/CD part, continuous integration and deployment, so that anytime you push to master or main or whatever your default branch name is, you pretty much don't have to do anything. You just have to sit back, your code gets built, your code gets tested, your code gets deployed. That's the meaning of continuous deployment, continuous integration. And on the infrastructure side, I would say figure out how to work with AWS Lambdas. For example, if you are working with GraphQL, it's best to deploy it as an AWS Lambda instead of just managing your own EC2 server and so on, until and unless you have a lot of traffic, and then you have to optimize between cost and the traffic you're receiving. Then it will be much more practical choice to go ahead and compare Fargate and Lambda and stuff like this. But for starters, I would say AWS Lambda is a solid choice for your backend. Make sure your backend is stateless. It is serverless compatible. With that being said, serverless is a super interesting tool as well. Serverless is a CLI tool which helps you manage your infrastructure as a code, right? So if you're working with AWS, any sort of service, this is the tool which you need to learn a bit about. Trust me, this is super complex thing. Because AWS is a complex thing, that is why this is also complex. You don't have to master it, you don't have to learn it completely, but you just have to know how to configure your infrastructure as a code. Because if your infrastructure is configured as a code, this is a powerful thing. Why? Because anytime you mess something up, all you have to do is redeploy that thing, revert that change back, or do anything, but on a code level, not on that UI level where you might screw some option, AWS updates it the other day and you are not able to find it. So infrastructure as a code using serverless is also super important. And finally, for Next.js, I think it goes without saying, but you should be looking at Vercel as a deployment option for frontend. So your GraphQL backend sits on Lambdas, your frontend sits on Vercel. I mean, that's a match made in heaven kind of thing, because both the components right now are scalable and can pretty much take any sort of load you throw at them. Finally, talking a bit about web security, which I always do, I do think you should also look into things like bcrypt or password hashing if you're storing passwords yourself. Otherwise, OAuth authentication for logging in with Google, Facebook, stuff like this. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're following the best practices for web security, this pretty much is a good list for you to become the ultimate full stack developer. I mean, these are the only technologies I would say more or less you need in today's time to be a great full stack developer, to build any sort of application. With that being said, just to inform, we pretty much cover every single one of these technologies in the Codedamm's full stack learning path, and we're gonna be increasing the price of that really soon once that learning path is officially completed and launched. So if you're not enrolled in that learning path, make sure you do that. The final discount link is in the description. So yeah, I mean, make sure you are on that train to get the full stack learning path before the prices shoot up. That is all for this one. I'm gonna see you in the next video really soon.